You open your closet and reach for the exact same $10 plain cotton t-shirt you wore to the office last Tuesday. Have you ever wondered exactly when people realize you are getting wealthy? Not the loud, flashy, fake wealthy, but the quietly, untouchably rich kind, the kind of wealth that never feels the need to announce itself to the entire room. There are 5 subtle wardrobe signs that prove you are secretly building stealth wealth behind closed doors. And the 5th sign doesn't just change your bank account balance, it completely changes how everyone around you treats you. But right now, wearing that cheap shirt into the corporate office lobby just makes you feel slightly out of place. 2 years ago, you used to shrink down when you walked past the front desk, terrified of being judged by your coworkers. You honestly thought your clothes were broadcasting a lack of success, a giant neon sign declaring that you were falling behind. Then Alex walks in, your coworker who never misses a single chance to wear a jacket covered in massive designer logos. Instantly, heads turn in the office. People treat the logo like a badge of pure authority. It is the halo effect of fake wealth. They borrow respect using a high-interest credit card, buying expensive fabric simply to convince absolute strangers they have made it. And for a very long time, you thought that was the exact game you had to play. You felt completely invisible. But today, looking down at your simple cotton shirt, something inside you shifts. You finally realize being invisible isn't a weakness. It is the ultimate armor. While they are exhausted busy defending a wealthy image, you are quietly defending your actual financial future. Your ordinary clothes have suddenly become a stealth shield against societal expectations. And that is just the first quiet victory. You think being completely ignored by staff in a high-end store is an insult, but it is actually a financial shield. 2 years ago, if a salesperson looked past your cheap cotton shirt, your face would flush with deep embarrassment. You would immediately want to buy something small, just a $40 keychain, simply to prove you belonged there. A heavy, silent tax on your ego. Not because you needed the item, not because you could comfortably afford it, but purely because you wanted their temporary approval. Watch closely the next time you walk into a luxury boutique wearing your basic $10 t-shirt. While you are left entirely alone to browse in total peace, another customer walks in dripping in massive, expensive designer logos. They smell the desperate need for validation. They know that a person wearing loud logos will often spend money they don't have to defend that image. You used to crave that exact attention. Now you stand quietly in the corner, realizing the absolute freedom. Because no one is pressuring you to keep your money exactly where it belongs, working for you, not for them. Your cheap clothes don't just protect you from judgment, they actively protect your bank account from wealth extraction. Being totally ignored is a superpower. That invisible armor is incredibly powerful, but the second wardrobe sign completely changes how you calculate the value of everything you own. You think the price tag on a designer item is just a number, but it is actually a receipt for your stolen time. It is late Friday evening. You are sitting on your couch, completely exhausted, scrolling past a photo of your coworker's brand new luxury bag. You feel a familiar knot in your stomach, the exhaustion of working a job you don't love just to maintain a certain image. For a moment, you feel the pressure to keep up, but then your brain starts doing a completely different kind of math. You stop looking at the dollar sign. Instead, you divide the cost of that flashy bag by your actual hourly wage. Suddenly, a financial equation appears in your mind. The price tag literally transforms into the exact number of working hours required to buy it. That $1,500 bag isn't just an accessory. It is 120 hours of mandatory overtime sitting on a desk. It is 3 solid weeks of waking up tired, sitting in rush hour traffic, and missing quiet dinners at home. This is the real opportunity cost of fake wealth. You are not paying with money. You are paying with pieces of your actual life. Once you realize this, the urge to upgrade your wardrobe completely vanishes. You look at your $10 shirt and see something beautiful. You see 15 minutes of work instead of 3 weeks. You see an entire month of freedom saved by choosing to look ordinary. The people who quietly build real wealth have mastered this specific calculation. They no longer trade their precious time for visible labels. Every time they decline a flashy purchase, they are secretly buying back their future Tuesdays and Wednesdays from their employer. You sit down on a random Tuesday morning, sipping coffee while everyone else is rushing to work. The social media bragging means nothing, because true wealth is not having a closet full of expensive brands. True wealth is waking up and completely owning your own time. Have you ever wondered what real, untouchable financial security actually feels like? Not the appearance of it, but the quiet, deep reality, not the fake security of a high-limit credit card. We are talking about the deep-in-your-bones safety when a massive, unexpected bill hits. 3 years ago, an email with the subject line "urgent repair" would literally ruin your entire week and make your chest tight. You would sit there in your cheap clothes, feeling completely exposed, frantically wondering which credit card could barely handle the heavy hit. Then you look across the office at Alex. Your flashy coworker is wearing a $2,000 watch, but their phone suddenly buzzes. It is a text from the bank. Despite the incredibly expensive aesthetic, you see sheer, absolute panic flash across Alex's tired eyes. They have the expensive armor of wealth, but absolutely none of the foundation. $1,000 emergency is a total life crisis. But today your own phone buzzes with a similarly terrifying notification. A massive, unexpected car repair bill just hit your inbox. You look down at your screen. You are wearing the exact same $10 plain cotton shirt you have worn for years. But underneath that cheap fabric is a financial concept most people never manage to build in their lifetimes. FU money. It is a quiet, fully funded emergency account. A massive safety net sitting silently in a high-yield account doing the heavy lifting. That financial cushion wraps around you like an invisible, impenetrable golden shield. The surprise bill bounces off without leaving a single scratch. The number doesn't trigger panic. It barely even registers as a minor annoyance. You just swipe the screen to authorize the payment. Remember that question from the start? When do people actually realize you are wealthy? They don't. But you do, right in this moment. The third sign is the absolute silence in your brain when a financial disaster tries to strike you and completely fails. 5 identical, completely unremarkable plain gray cotton shirts folded neatly in a drawer. The most boring wardrobe choice you could possibly make. You think getting a promotion means buying a brand new aesthetic, but true wealth usually looks like buying the exact same cheap shirt. 4 years ago, wearing the exact same outfit twice in 1 week to the office felt like a massive social failure. You would spend hours online, late at night, stressing over a new jacket just to look like you were successful. More money, more expensive clothes to maintain the image, zero actual freedom to rest. It is a silent financial trap called lifestyle inflation. The moment your paycheck finally grows, your closet demands an immediate, expensive upgrade. You see people running endlessly on this treadmill. They look incredibly rich, but their actual net worth stays completely flat. Not because they don't make enough money, but because they continuously trade wealth for a visual aesthetic. Then you look at your own minimalist drawer. You stepped completely off that exhausting social treadmill forever. Not because you gave up, not because you cannot afford the luxury tier, but because you developed absolute immunity to lifestyle upgrades. You just smile politely. They have absolutely no idea that your boring uniform is a highly calculated financial strategy. You are wearing the exact same cheap shirt as last year, but your net worth is dramatically different. This is the 4th sign. You have quietly won the social game simply by refusing to play it anymore. An emergency all-hands meeting is suddenly called at 4 in the afternoon, the exact kind that usually means massive layoffs. You sit quietly in your faded $10 shirt, watching the entire room fill with a thick, suffocating cloud of panic. 5 years ago, this exact scenario would have made you physically sick to your stomach. You needed this job desperately. 1 meeting, your entire livelihood on the line. You used to think job security came from working much harder, but it actually comes from systematically needing so much less. Look across the table at Alex. They are wearing a pristine designer suit, but their hands are literally shaking in fear. Not because they are bad at their job, not because they are weak, but because their lifestyle demands a massive monthly payment. Those expensive clothes are golden handcuffs. If the monthly paycheck stops for even 1 second, their entire financial world instantly collapses downward. It isn't a fancy executive title. It is having a monthly burn rate so incredibly low that you fear absolutely nothing. You realize you don't need a massive salary to be free. You just need a wardrobe and lifestyle that doesn't demand constant cash. You sit in that incredibly tense meeting and realize you hold the ultimate invisible card, the absolute power to walk away. No fear, total absolute financial control. Because true power isn't having the loudest voice in the boardroom. It is the quiet, untouchable ability to say no. An expensive wine glass clinks. The sound of forced laughter echoes across a high-end restaurant table on a busy Saturday night. You are sitting at a reunion dinner with old friends, wearing the exact same understated, inexpensive clothing you wear everywhere else. Years ago, sitting at a table like this would make you feel incredibly small, desperately wanting to prove you were successful. The conversation is a rapid-fire scoreboard. Everyone is loudly comparing their leased cars, luxury vacations, and brand new expensive aesthetic upgrades. The pressure to join the game is suffocating. The entire table practically expects you to throw your own financial achievements into the ring. Look at Alex sitting right across from you. They are dominating the conversation, loudly bragging about a ridiculously expensive recent purchase. But you notice something. Their eyes are constantly darting around the table, desperately checking to see if people are actually deeply impressed. This is the toxic cycle of social comparison. It is a psychological financial game where the only way to play is to lose. A scoreboard appears in your mind. The louder someone broadcasts their wealth, the lower their actual financial security usually is behind closed doors. You realize they are not bragging to convince you. They are loudly trying to convince themselves the massive stress is worth it. Instead of feeling left behind, you feel a profound sense of relief. You take a slow sip of water, completely silent. You have the quiet satisfaction of knowing you could comfortably buy the entire table's dinner without even checking your bank account. You don't mention your investments. You don't mention your fully funded accounts. You just smile gently and say you are doing fine. Because the fifth and final sign of stealth wealth is realizing that the ultimate financial flex is absolute unbreakable silence. A simple home-brewed cup of coffee on a quiet Sunday morning. The most ordinary, inexpensive start to a day you could possibly imagine. You sit by the window in your plain cotton shirt, completely undisturbed by the frantic pace of the outside world. 4 years ago, Sunday mornings were filled with a deep, sinking dread. The terrifying fear that a sudden crisis would ruin your fragile plans. You would sit there calculating exactly how many hours you had to work just to survive the heavy credit card bills from the weekend. But today you open your laptop to check a very different kind of math, a financial concept called the 4% rule. A chart appears in your mind. If you can live off just 4% of your invested portfolio, you theoretically never have to work again. Because your lifestyle is so incredibly cheap to maintain, that specific crossover point happened quietly without any fireworks or celebrations. You close the laptop. The absolute unbreakable silence of knowing your time belongs entirely to you for the rest of your life. The next morning at the office, you stand by the coffee machine. You are completely refreshed, ready for a Monday you actually control. Then Alex walks in. The flashy designer clothes are wrinkled. Their eyes are exhausted, carrying the heavy, invisible weight of a massive weekend bill. Despite the incredibly wealthy aesthetic, they are entirely trapped. They are sprinting on an endless treadmill just to keep the aggressive debt away. You look at them and feel absolutely no need to compete. The urge to prove your own success has completely vanished. Remember that question from the very beginning? When do people actually realize you are getting wealthy? They don't. They are entirely consumed by their own financial illusions, desperately trying to keep up with a game you stopped playing. You just smile, take a sip of your free office coffee, and walk back to your desk completely and permanently free. Later that exact same afternoon, the flashy facade completely shatters. Alex walks over to your desk looking entirely defeated. The massive designer logos no longer look like symbols of extreme wealth. They just look like heavy, suffocating warning signs. They drop the confident act entirely. For the first time, they quietly confess that they are completely drowning in credit card payments. The luxury car lease is suffocating them. The expensive vacations were entirely funded by borrowing against their own future freedom. This introduces a terrifying new financial concept: ego debt. When you take out high-interest loans simply to fund a temporary public image. It is the most expensive type of debt in existence because it literally pays for your own golden handcuffs. Alex looks at your cheap $10 faded cotton shirt, not with pity anymore, but with a quiet, desperate kind of envy. They ask how you stay so incredibly calm. You don't reveal your net worth, you just offer a kind, simple smile. You let them keep whatever fragile pride they have left. The urge to prove you are winning has completely, permanently evaporated. Alex walks away. The invisible shadow of massive consumer debt clings tightly to that incredibly expensive designer jacket. You look down at your own faded cotton sleeves. 3 years ago, you thought they were a sign of failure. But today, you finally understand the truth. This cheap, ordinary fabric is actually the most expensive armor in the entire room. It didn't just protect you from judgment. It quietly bought you the absolute ultimate luxury that no designer store could ever sell. Complete, unshakable peace of mind. The profound freedom of waking up every day owing absolutely nothing to anyone's expectations. You have won the invisible game. But there is one final piece of the puzzle you have to put into place. The next morning, the sun rises. You stand in your bedroom looking at the exact same open closet from years ago. You reach in and pull out that identical $10 plain cotton t-shirt, the ultimate uniform of the quietly, untouchably wealthy. You look at your reflection. You no longer see someone who is falling behind in an exhausting social game. Instead, you see someone who has successfully, quietly, and permanently bought back their own absolute freedom. So remember that question from the very beginning: when do people actually realize you are getting wealthy? They don't. They never do. They just assume you are ordinary, and they leave you entirely blissfully alone. Your cheap clothes have become the ultimate stealth camouflage in a world entirely obsessed with loud, expensive labels. While everyone else is actively spending every single dollar to defend a highly fragile and incredibly stressful image, you are quietly, patiently, and untouchably compounding your actual net worth in the shadows. Because the absolute ultimate flex in life isn't proving to strangers that you are rich. It is knowing that you are completely, permanently, and untouchably free. And that is the quiet power. The characters and stories in this video are fictional and created for illustrative purposes based on common financial situations, not real individuals. The content in this video is for entertainment and illustrative purposes about money psychology and is not investment or personal financial advice. Please do your own research.